This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. Microsoft says it is making progress in efforts to stop the cybercrime operation known as Zeus. In March, federal officials in the United States raided office buildings in 2 states. They seized evidence related to the Zeus family of malicious software. Richard Boscovich is with the Microsoft's Digital Crimes Unit. He says the objective of the raids was to seize evidence which might help identify the individuals behind the Zeus family of malware. The bigger goal is to identify the computers of people all over the world that are compromised. That means they have the malware on their computer, which is being used to victimize others, and they don't even know about it. Cyber criminals use Zeus to create a network of infected computers, or botnet, to steal personal information from computer users. Mr. Boscovich says the operation reaches around the world. He says this malware was present at any given point in time in at least 13 million computers worldwide. Malware means malicious software. It also can be called a computer virus or worm. Mr. Boscovich says the malware is spread through emails, where people are tricked into clicking on a link or visiting a website. And once that happens, the objective is to infect the person's computer with this piece of malware. The malware is programmed to record every keystroke as you type on a computer keyboard. It gathers details about the websites you visit, your usernames and passwords, or other personal information. The information is then sent to the botnet's command center, which is a location on the internet. From there, the criminals will direct all of the infected computers to contact the botnet from time to time to ask for directions. Much of the stolen information is sold on the black market. The information can be used to steal money from bank accounts or make purchases online without the victim's knowledge. Officials say these malware invasions are one of the main causes of identity theft. Microsoft brought a case against the Zeus operation on March 19th. The company released the details of the case after the buildings were raided on March 23rd. Next week, we'll talk more about the raids, Zeus, and what Microsoft says computer users can do to protect themselves. We will also talk about other recent efforts to fight cybercrime. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. More than 20,000 new products appeared at this year's International Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. Among the attention getters were Ultrabooks, or very thin laptop computers. Also, Microsoft announced new smartphones with the Windows Phone operating system. Far from the bright lights of Vegas are the poorly lit streets of Delhi. A new mobile app called Fight Back aims to make those streets safer for women like China Sika. She often works late. A company taxi takes her part of the way home, but then she has to walk 5 to 10 minutes alone. It's dark, and the kind of people who are around are not really to be comfortable with or safe, she says. Ms. Sika uses Fight Back to follow her location with GPS, or Global Positioning System software. Jagdish Mitra is the head of Canvas M Technologies, which launched the app. He says, the moment you feel uncomfortable, you really don't need to do anything else but press one button. The woman has a few seconds to cancel her decision. If not, a message with her location will go by text, email, or Facebook to anyone she has put on a list. The location also appears on a map in the company's offices. But Mr. Mitra says his company does not serve as a public monitoring center. The law has to be managed by the people who actually are authorized to do it, which is the police and so on and so forth. Officials reported more than 400 rapes in Delhi in 2010. Many media organizations have called the city of 17 million people India's rape capital. Kalpana Viswanath is a researcher with the women's group Jagori. She works to make cities safer for women through changes like better lighting and wider sidewalks. She supports Fight Back, but has some concerns. While the app to me is very important and has a good role to play, I think what we have to be careful about is that it doesn't again fall back on women to solve their problem. The makers of Fight Back say police in Delhi and other Indian cities have expressed interest in linking to the system. Hindal Sengupta is a founder of YPOL, a nonprofit group that works on the Fight Back project. He says Indian police often do not take women's safety seriously. He says most women don't go to the police because in most parts of the country, the police are seen as more part of the problem than part of the solution. There's a video about Fight Back at voaspecialenglish.com. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
This is the VOA Special English Development Report. International Women's Day is celebrated every year on March 8th. Groups around the world use the day to honor the achievements of women. They also use the day to call attention to some of the major social, political, and economic crises affecting women and girls. Forced marriage, sexual abuse, poverty, and lack of education are among the leading issues. The United Nations says 1 in 5 women worldwide will be the victim of a sexual assault in their lifetime. The agency says rape and domestic violence are a major cause of death and disability among women ages 15 to 44. And it says more than 130 million women around the world have had their external sexual organs damaged or disfigured. This practice is known as female genital mutilation. Poverty, food insecurity, and access to education are also major issues affecting women. The United Nations says the majority of the world's 1.3 billion poor are women, and that women and girls in many countries lack access to education. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says until women and girls are freed from poverty and injustice, the world's goals for peace, security, and sustainable development are at risk. National Women's Day was first celebrated in the United States on February 28, 1909. It became an international celebration in 1911. A year earlier, a women's rights leader suggested the idea at an international conference of working women in Copenhagen. Clara Zetkin said women around the world should set aside one day every year to protest oppression and inequality for women. More than 1 million women and men attended events in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland during the first International Women's Day in 1911. The date for the observation was changed to March 8th in 1914 in honor of the first organized protest for women's rights. It was on this date in 1908 that 15,000 women marched in New York City to demand better pay, shorter hours, and voting rights. Several countries now celebrate International Women's Day as a public holiday. They include China, Russia, Bulgaria, and Vietnam. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report. Transcripts, MP3s, and podcasts of our reports are at voaspecialenglish.com. And you can find us on Twitter and YouTube at VOA Learning English.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. Microsoft has announced its first tablet computer. The device, called the Surface, is designed to compete directly with the popular iPad. The computer software maker announced its new tablet in June at a media event in Los Angeles. Microsoft will offer 2 versions of the Surface. Each has a different processor. The Surface for Windows RT runs on an ARM processor. It is less powerful than the Surface for Windows 8 Pro, which uses an Intel processor. The RT is also thinner and weighs less than the Pro. Either tablet weighs no more than about 900 grams. Both have screens that are about 27 centimeters in size. That is a little bigger than the iPad screen. Microsoft has not said exactly when the new Surface will appear in stores, but it is expected to be sometime in September or October. This is about the same time that the company plans to release its new Windows 8 computer operating system. Brenda Estrella owns a laptop computer. She has been considering switching to a tablet. She says for her, the iPad is more of an entertainment device. In her words, if Microsoft is coming out with a tablet that actually you can type and actually do different things other than just swipe, then that would be better. Many technology lovers, including Catherine Clinch, are excited about the new device. She points out that the Surface stands by itself, so you don't have to buy a stand. Also, there is a keyboard that can also act as a cover. Those are all wonderful things, she says. But what interests her most is the potential to get rid of the netbook, to get rid of the laptop, to maybe even down the line get rid of the full computer. Fox Van Allen is a technology expert. He agrees the Surface seems to have more to offer than the iPad. He says it's a device that almost serves as a replacement for a PC. The Surface is meant to compete with the iPad, but not everyone is sure it is a better product. John Ayala says he is glad there is a competitor, but he is sticking with his iPad. For years, Microsoft has made software, not computers. A few earlier attempts by the company to make and sell hardware products failed. That includes the Zune music player. It could not compete against Apple's iPod. Estimates place the value of the tablet computer market at about $79 billion this year. Microsoft hopes to capture a share of that market with its latest device. For VOA Special English, I'm Mario Ritter.